Hello, it's Tim from Toy Tinker Tim. In this episode on the 1976 Mattel Pulsar figure is made up of what originally were 3 separate videos published October 3rd and the 5th of 2017. There's an overview and variations of the figure, repairing some heavy scuffs to the boots, and touching up paint wear on the hair and brows of the head. Also, there's a repair of the broken connector piece on the inside of the face. At the time I made these videos, I used an unreliable site for background music, and the music later had to be removed because of copyright issues, which resulted in narration also being cut out in segments. So here are the 3 original 2017 episodes as one informative set.
It's Pulsar, the ultimate man of adventure.
We're going to be talking about the Pulsar from Mattel, 1977. It's copyright 1976, but the production of it hit the stores officially in 1977. You're going to find 2 variations of the figure. The one with a painted torso and the one with the totally front clear torso. These were made in the USA. They're marked that on the back, made in USA. And then the ones with the totally clear are marked for Hong Kong. So besides painted versus non-painted, skin tone wise, this one's got a little bit bluer reddish tint to it. This one has a more just general tan type color look to it. Other feature is in the eyebrows. The US version, you'll see in the arch, it's a little more rounded to the brow line, and in the Hong Kong it's a more straight line. He looks a little more scowling or a little more angry looking there, the Pulsar there. Inside the head, open the hood here, the banding that holds the head on here, the face I should say, is a black elastic material. And when we go for the Hong Kong, it's a little bit nicer. They made it into a flesh tone, so it's not so distracting, a little less clunky looking there. Otherwise, function wise, it's all the same thing. Got that good pumping motion and bubbling blood intestines and everything else going on for him there. So that's that little bit of trivia and comparison there. Alright, so this is the US painted waist version of Pulsar that I'd gotten off of eBay. So getting in new items off of eBay, one of the first things you do is get the costume off, get it washed if possible, because of stickers or emblems on the outfits, or sometimes just the condition. Some of it might be very frail, but then also to clean the figure, just using like some Dawn dish soap and a cloth, especially with this figure with the clear sections. You don't want to immerse it, get it soaked or anything. On the face or head, just take a extra soft toothbrush bristle to clean out crevices and whatnot there. And then that way too you kind of take a look and see, we might do some touch-up painting here, like for the brows and the hairline. And then also just check the condition of the figure. This one, I noticed you know, the arm moves about where it should. It's not funny or anything, but this one here was really stiff in trying to move it. So I had noticed then there's cardboard or paper wedged in there, and I thought somebody might have stuck something in there, you know, over the years, like it's a really loose arm, but I don't think so. So I've tried some tweezers and things to try to pull it out, and it's just, I'm not getting anywhere. It just kind of tears off on the edge. It's not going. So These figures made for play, playware, play activity. They've got kind of a like a bow shaped joint or connector inside the arms. And I imagine not just for assembly, but I guess if kids got too rough they wouldn't break the arms. It's got give to it. So we're going to try to attempt to just remove the arm here once. So we can get a hold here once and brace them down gently, as gently as possible here. There we go. And I don't think somebody stuck that in there, hardly. That's odd. I mean, it's notched practically perfectly there. So I'm not real familiar with I know the exterior packaging for the Pulsar figures. I don't know how these were in the box. It's unusual to me. Like I say though, I don't know how the packaging was. It's to me it looks like that's like the arms were put on the figure after it was in the box. It looks to be like packaging from the box. This tab, it would have gone from here in the bottom where it's torn. This is just perfectly curved, like die cut stamped out of the cardboard paper material. Same for the inner part. That was part of how it was held into position. So it's just an unusual way, but I guess you would have had to remove the arm because that's been there. So let's go ahead and just there. So there's a piece of vintage paper cardboard stuff there from the packaging. I'll probably go in there and clean off the rest of that cardboard residue, the blue stuff there. So with the clear chest piece, I'm going to clean that up. And a product that I've used is the McGuire's Plastics. It's for specifically for clear plastics, and that would be a great thing to use here on this piece here. And it gets a little bit of yellowing oxidation out, so that would be ideal. The aging, not just exposure to sunlight, but the aging of the plastic. I've used that plastics on the 1977 Alien from Kenner, the Dome, and G.I. Joe mobile support vehicle, their helicopter window too. I've used that cleaner on all of those and it's worked really well, so this would be a great candidate for that as well. Okay, so I've mixed some black acrylic, and I've took some burnt umber because his brows are, to me, it's kind of a brownish black. It's not just a flat straight black. And first in mixing, I thought, well, it's looking a little too dark, too blackish, so I just took a little bit of that, moved it over to the next well, and added again a little bit more burnt umber. So I just have to try and see. So I'm gonna try putting this on here once and see what this is looking like. It's about the only way to see what's going on. And I think that's got that in there. Just a little bit there, maybe touch up. Hard to see here right now with it still so wet and shiny. Give his head a little twist here once. Not bad, really. He doesn't have a whole lot of wear on him. You know, some of my G.I. Joes that are older than him are in the same time frame, similar time frame. I think they just had a lot more wear and tear. I think too their heads were more of a, well, it's more of a vinyl-y type material. His is strictly the same kind of plastic that's, you know, the shoulders and everything are made out of here. Come back in here. Reason why I'm talking about that is this seems to be kind of beating up with the plastic. I know on the G.I. Joe heads, when I've touched them up, it lays on pretty even and smooth. But here, it just kind of beads. Touch that up there a little bit. What I'm going to do, I'll let that dry there first. I think color-wise we're doing okay. And then I'd like to try to touch up some of the scuffs again. It's not bad, but it's going to be a bit of a pistol here with his hair. It's not, you know, like a straight white or whatever. It's got a yellowish tint to the hair. It's not like it's a blonde-looking hair. It's just yellowish white. I don't know how else to describe that one, but I'm gonna let that brow dry and then come back here once and try to mix up a color to match the hair. Okay, so for the hair, what I did is I started with just regular white. I added just a little bit of watered down burnt umber to that, and then just to kind of get it into a little bit of an off-white, and then again just a very little bit of watered down the yellow into that, and mix those up, and I've gotten this color here now. So let's take a look here once and see what we got going on here. If we got a pretty good looking match, I think so. Again, I'll put it in and we'll let that dry and see what we get here, what the outcome is. I say this guy doesn't have a whole lot of wear, really bad wear to the paint on him, you know, with the brows and things of that nature, and the age. I'm used to there being a little bit more wear and tear. You're seeing it, more scuffs and everything. Come on, let's turn around there. So we'll see. It looks kind of crappy right now, this paint, but I'm thinking in part once we dry it, things kind of make a color shift there a little bit, for one thing, and I think it'll even out. I have a it's for acrylics. It's like a finish, a clear finish you can brush on. One is a gloss and one is a matte, and again, I'll probably dilute a little bit. The head's got a little bit of shine and everything to it, so wherever I've touched up at, oh my gosh, his head turn on the paint, I can come in and touch that up over those areas with that top finish that way. And even them up here. So we'll let this dry and see what we got from there. Okay, so I finished doing the touch-up paint here on the brows and the hair on his head for the scuffs and everything, and came out to be a pretty good match. And I use the acrylics, so over that, once the acrylic has had a good time to dry, as a top, I've got two different, well, they call it a varnish. They're acrylic, a gloss or satin, depending on the finish of the toy. So he's got a little bit more of a shine to him. So we want to go with a gloss varnish, which, like the paints, I just put a dab out, wet the brush, and mix that in and just go over the areas that I've painted on, just to give it a blend in with the rest of the other finish on the figure, to help that. Now, there's probably other brands. This is through Vallejo, and like I say, there's probably other makes of products similar, but this is what I've used, and it's worked really well for me. So, alright, next I think one thing I want to work on is getting that head a little tighter here so it's not so floppy. Okay, the boots that come with Pulsar are hinged. Got little snaps here, little tabs I should say, and because Pulsar has like zero ankle or foot articulation there, so nothing of give to be able to get on the shoe. You've got to have it hinge to open and close around that foot of his there. So these boots came in. One was in pretty good shape, and the other had some heavy scuffs to the sides of it. On the scuffed up one, let's find it, here we go. Was able to get most of that out of it. It's very light now compared to how it was when I had gotten it, and so what I used for that is just some really fine, it is super fine, 240 grit there, sandpaper, and that was able to go over these heavy gouges, and then also just folding it to get in to try to bring out or redefine the shapes here in there to the boot that might have gotten kind of obliterated from the heavy scuff. Same thing with that design element coming over the toe edge of the boot here, bringing that back up and taking again a soft bristle toothbrush and then scrubbing out, because even though the surface was cleaned up pretty good, there's still really deep gouges in there. I don't want to sand down any farther into that. That's just going too heavily into the material at that point. But so it came out pretty good, really. And these shoes are made, it's either left or right foot. There's no right or left for them. So when I put it back on the figure for display, he'll have this to the inside of the foot. It's not going to be a big deal, at least certainly not to me at this point. So this is another thing to watch for on auctions when you're on eBay looking for a Pulsar figure. These will crack or give out you know, the flex is only so much on those things over the years, and it just splits. Age, not even just play wear, it's just the age of the plastic it just gives out. It's how it is with it. But those cleaned up and shaped up pretty well. So there's a tip for you: the scuffed plastic sandpaper, and check when you're looking on auctions for the condition of the boot there at that crease. That's it. Alright, so crazy glue wasn't so crazy. A man without his face here, so the flap is still intact and everything, but the little clip on the back, even with the crazy glue, packing material and everything, there just wasn't there enough to catch and hold that. So what I did is I totally removed what was left inside and chipped away, scraped off the old material. It's pretty brittle. It just kind of, it wasn't even a cracking, it just kind of crumbled off, really. So it was pretty bad. That was just a matter of time before that was going to go. So I cleared off the excess, what was left. I filed that down to get a smooth surface and then drilled a new center hole. And I made a template of the shape of the previous piece to use as a guide. And for the donor material, I am going to use a Cap 2 laundry soap. One is, I feel like it's about the right density of material, thickness and hardness, the stiffness of it there. And that silver should look okay. You know, it's not a flesh tone. Maybe I'll roughen it up and hand paint it and put a sealer on. I don't know. I might just leave it silver. It's not so bad given his nature. So anyhow, that's where we're at. So I will attach my template shape onto the cap, and then I'll cut that out and drill a hole, and I've got plenty of fine screws, and reattach it, and let's see how that goes then. Alright, so here we are with the final repaired, restored Pulsar. He's had the eyebrows, he's had the hair retouched, painted, just an overall body cleaning. He's had the clear plastic polish used on the chest piece section. And we have gone through repairing the inside of his head. His mission disc just fell out. Let's see if we can tilt him up here, get a look under the hood there. There's the repair, a new clip, and here's his mission disc. Let's pop that back on the peg there. And there we go. He's back in. Back in action, ready to do his mysterious thing. So I hope the repair process was informative and helpful, and at times entertaining for you. Be sure and check back for more Toy Tinker Tim. Better yet, subscribe, and you'll never miss an update. Thanks. See ya.